no speaking other language. And for the start, we begin with our thought for the day. It's the food soul food rather. Something to ponder upon. Our words have the power to build up or to tear down. So, if you're going to say something, if you utter a word, we better make sure that this is going to build up. It's going to give a good result rather than to defame someone or to hurt someone. So, our words have the power to build up or to tear down. Yesterday, we talked about sentence analysis. This is to classify each word depending on its function and form in the sentence. Yes, yeah. Yes, chef. All right, let me take a seat. Okay, so once again, happy Friday to everyone. To all the folks, to all the Timetians in the UAE who are having rest days today, tune in to our online classes for refreshment. And for all the Timetians across the globe, then whichever time zone you are, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. So now, we will talk about subject-verb agreement. For those who are taking the LET, licensure examination for teachers, and civil service examinations, you have to not only pay attention to this topic, but you have to learn it by heart because this will change your fate towards the examination. SVA. Subject, verb, agreement. This is very basic, it's very elementary, but it's very important in every spoken or written English. In mathematics or particularly in geometry, we have the so-called complementary angles. What is a complementary angle? 90 degrees. Two angles that when you add together will come up with a right angle or 90 degrees. So in other words, if one angle is 30 degrees, then the other one should be 60 degrees. They have to complement each other. So this is the same thing in subject-verb agreement. How to do this? Number one, you have to identify the subject. If you do not know how to identify the subject in the first place, then you will fail the whole process. This is why yesterday we did the sentence analysis to know well what exactly is the function and the form of the word in the sentence. And few days back, I prepared a lecture video on the parts of speech. It's a familiarization video on the word classes. So now this is an actual use of the theory or the lecture that were made before. So after identifying the subject of the sentence, then we have to decide whether it is singular or plural. In determining a singular or a plural, and if you still don't know this, then something is wrong. You have to go back to the very basics of English. For example, if you see a subject, mathematics or physics, then you will say, is this a singular or a plural subject? And number three, lastly, we have to decide the verb, whether it's also singular or plural, depending on the subject. So here, the reference is the subject. It won't be the verb. So as a rule, number one, there are several rules for subject-verb agreement. And number one is singular subject takes a singular verb. Plural subject takes plural verb. So, shall we erase this one? Plural subject, okay, just say two plural verb. And if you don't know also what is a plural verb and what is a singular verb, then go back to the basics. Example, she, sorry, wow, I wrote, she writes every day. So where's the subject? It's she. It's a pronoun, second personal pronoun, and this is singular. So definitely the verb will be plural. Sorry, singular. So in a subject, plural mostly has an S, and in the verb, if it has an S, then it's singular. If without S, so if we change this into a plural, they write every day. So they is now a plural, therefore the verb must be plural. Very simple, isn't it? Okay? But there are instances that the sentences are not as simple as we think. If the subject is composed of a, let me just check, just a second. Yes, chef. We'll have a quiz later on. It's a shame that I had to redo this this live. I sent to several groups the link, one half sheet of paper lengthwise. All right, rule number 3. Okay, just a recap. Rule number 1, if a subject is singular, the verb has to be singular. And if it's number 2, if it's plural, and of course the verb must be plural. Okay, if number 3, if the subject is composed of a compound, no, it's a compound subject. Okay, let me just check. The doctoral students and the committee members write every day. So here, it's a compound subject. Students, this is already plural. And we have a connector. And we have members also in plural. Of course, it is a plural verb. Number 4. Interviews. Let me take this one. Okay, still on the compound, no, this is not a compound verb, subject. When there is one subject and more than one verb, so it's the other way around. We have two verbs in this sentence. Okay. Interviews are, interviews are one way to collect data and allow. Sometimes we tend to forget the subject when we have compound verbs. So the subject remains to be interviews. which is in plural. So interviews are one way to collect data and allows. There, you may tend to put S, forgetting this subject. So whether 2, 3, or more verbs, they have to still agree with the one subject in the sentence. All right, this number 5 rule is often, especially in Dubai, I hear a lot of people often mistaken by this rule. When a phrase comes between the subject and the verb, remember that the verb still agrees with the subject, not the noun or pronoun. Okay. The students and then we have an inserted phrase. The students along as well. I think I have to make use of this one. Okay. I'm wrong. Okay, someone will want to read the sentence? I love you all, guys, for all the support. Okay, going back to rule number 5. The subject, whether there is an inserted phrase, normally prepositional phrases, it doesn't change the number, okay? So, the student, which is our subject, and there are several members here. But this one, if you remove this, it still goes with the simple sentence, the student is excited. You cannot say the student as well as the committee members are excited. But still, there are a lot of those who get confused on this. Okay, this one. My material, by the way, came from an academic community. This is why all the words, the examples are students, research, and all. The student with all the master's degrees is very motivated. So again, we have this clause. The student with all the master's degrees. So this is, and the student must agree. You cannot say the student with all the degrees, master's degrees, are very motivated. All right. What about if the subject, if we have an alternating subject? This one is very simple. Wait. Number 4, It's very simple because, where is this one? No. Number 3. Number 3 is very simple because of the and, which is is it a correlative conjunction? We know that they are both the subject, but what if it's an alternating conjunction? Or this is 6th rule. When 2 or more singular nouns or pronouns are connected by or and nor, okay? The chairperson or the CEO the proposal before proceeding. This one is quite simple because we have both singular, chairperson and CEO. It is joined by alternating conjunction or. This is singular and singular. Because this one did not join them together, so either 1 or 2. And these are both singular, so it should be singular. Now, what if we are alternating a singular against a plural? Now, this is number 7. The student or the committee members Okay, so we are alternating student, which is singular, and committee members, which is plural. So the rule is whoever is closer to the verb, then that will be the reference point. So right is closer because it's there. No, right is closer to members. And members happen to be plural. This is why we have a plural right. But if we interchange the sentence, the committee members or the student, then, okay, let me write it. Let's make it. Or the closer verb, subject to the verb is student, which is only one. So we have to make it right. So this is nothing new. There's nothing new about this. This has been the same grammar rule since we were, I guess since I remember learning about grammar. So alternating subject. Whichever subject is nearer to the verb, then it is the reference. Okay. What about, sorry, I have to read so that we have a live interaction. Yeah, but no. Okay. Now, another rule is who knows about indefinite pronouns? Anybody one? Anybody one who wants to help me with indefinite pronouns? Indefinite pronouns are anybody, somebody, nobody. What do you think if we use an indefinite pronoun? Will it require a positive, a plural or a singular verb? Okay. Number 8, somebody talks loudly. So, somebody is an indefinite pronoun. So all indefinite pronouns are singular. That means somebody talks loudly. Now I read something about dare. Dare, but this one I have to verify who are the English teachers tuned in. There is a second person in the, because this came from they. They is in, there is in the possessive case of they, which means this is plural. But I read in some materials that there is now used as a replacement for he or she. But that I have to check, because when I was taught in English in high school, when you speak about an indefinite person, someone left, for example, this antecedent, someone left his or her wallet, for example. I'm just trying to insert something. Someone, what is this? Someone left wallet. Of course, the antecedent is either he or she. Because if we use there, this is wrong if you apply the nature of this pronoun. Because someone is indefinite pronoun, which is singular. But I read somewhere, I forgot to take the reference authority who wrote this, that now this can be used as a replacement for either he or she. But in our old times, he or she must be used, and normally he will be, if the gender is not determined, he will represent the whole humanity. So either you say someone left his, sorry, should be her. Someone left his wallet. Who can answer? So this one is our homework. We'll stay here, find out if there can be used as a replacement for the pronoun his or her as an antecedent. We'll talk about antecedent. Antecedent in the succeeding lessons. But for purposes of discussing an indefinite pronoun, so we came about this topic. All right. There are uncountable nouns, or sometimes they call it non-countable nouns. So if you have a subject which is a non-countable noun, it means you cannot count. What are the uncountable nouns? Who would like to tell me and give me an example? Number 9, non-countable nouns. So how shall we deal with these subjects? I can see Chef Lee is inclined to English as well. Yeah, right. But I'm trying to reconcile the idea, because if we go to this, all right, let's put aside this topic. Let's talk about this. I, he, she, they. Okay? These are the personal pronouns. We have the first degree, second, and third. So this one is plural because it's I. This is singular and this is plural. And this is in the nominative case. Now if we have it in the possessive case, so this one is mine. He, she is his, her. And they is their. Singular, no, it should be plural, but it should be, okay, either S or P, and this is always singular. This is always singular and this is always plural. So for the purposes of verb-subject agreement, if it's already an accepted word to replace an unknown gender of the second person pronoun, then it is safe to use there as a singular antecedent of an indefinite pronoun. But that one, I will dig into it. I will consult some grammarians, these authorities, And who shall I consult? I don't know. Because my teacher is dead. He's passed away. So, all right. Going back to the non-countable nouns. Should be non-count, not non-countable. Non-count nouns. I'll just copy the sample sentences. Number 1, education. Okay. So non-count nouns. I never heard anyone say educations with an S. So this first example is very simple, very basic. Education is the subject. It's a non-count noun. It must have a singular verb. Diabetes is the same. Diabetes is, although it's an S, but anyway, that has nothing to do with the form or the function or the form of the subjects. So diabetes affects many people around the world. Okay, number 3. I can see here a lot of emails I received. I hope these informations will give you or will give light to this matter or something like this. So I would like to reply to tell them that information is a non-count noun. You cannot put S to this information. So it remains singular, therefore the verb is singular. You cannot change this to put it like informations and make it were, because you are violating the rule of a non-count noun. It will ruin the entire sentence. And if you're preparing a document or a formal letter, then you are discounting the credibility of the document. Okay? Information. Same thing about paperwork. I hear a lot of people say, a lot of paperwork to be done at home or in the office. I'm so preoccupied, all stuff like this. But paperwork, take note that it is a non-count noun. You cannot, just like information, you cannot add S and make the plural R. Always just make use. Also, furniture. Okay, we can add. Furniture in the same sense, okay, is a non-count noun. Equipment, these are things. You cannot add s just to satisfy and make it have, you know. All right. So after the non-count noun, we proceed with countable nouns, okay? But this is very basic also. Chef Lee, did you say to me, did you tell me last time you were an ECE? I remember. Someone told me he said ECE. Ten. Countable nouns. Such as, okay, earnings, goods, odds, surroundings, proceeds. I'm doing it verbatim. Contents, valuables. Okay, according to the reference, these words are always and only plural. Earnings. Proceeds from the sale go to support the homeless. Here, it just wants us to be critical with the words with the subject. Because if there are nouns that end with S that are treated as singular, mathematics, statistics, physics, there are also nouns that are naturally plural and they take this S form. Savings account. Proceed, earnings, okay? So the earnings for this quarter exceed, of course, plural. So you cannot say the earnings for this quarter exceeds expectation. That will lead you to disaster. Okay? And then proceeds, the proceeds, sing plural, from the sale go, this is the verb, go to support the homeless. There are other, okay, here, goods, odds, surroundings. You cannot remove this, odds. Any questions so far? I see. I only had 2 thumbs ups though. It could be the other guy. I remember. He's an ECE and he's in Qatar. Yeah. Okay. Another rule. I don't know why they added this, but let's give it a shot. 11. In sentences beginning with there is, or there are, there is or there are, the subject follows the verb. Yeah, of course. I see. I get it. Example. There is little administrative support. Okay. Now I understand why they added this to the rule. Because maybe we mistake this there and there, but this is not the subject of the sentence. This one is, it has to agree, this subject must agree with this. Support is singular. This is why we have is as the linking verb. Now here, are must agree with the factors as the subject. Many factors are there. Yeah. So factors is the subject of the sentence. Any questions? Are we doing good? Yes, that's right, Mr. Sheffley. Even my no, I really don't have a good accent, but when I stayed here, and of course, English is our lingua franca. Annyeonghaseyo, because in our office, for example, annyeonghaseyo, kefalek sidi, what is this? Or privyet, all those languages, and you will have a broken English in the long run. And this is what happened to me. I used to be very, wow, I'm trying to claim something out of myself. I used to be spontaneous, and now it's a little bit different. And I used to speak a lot in public. Now I didn't have much of a chance to do this, and now here is a good platform for me to revitalize. Wow, revitalize. Just like that, yes. Same. Anyway, if we work with the British guys and the Caucasians, then sometimes it's really difficult to adjust again my ears. Just like a music, if you're used to the melody, then even if it's far, you cannot hear it audibly, then you still understand what's the music all about, or what is that song. But now it is very difficult. If I speak to British people, I could hardly understand. I have to focus to what they're talking about so that I can comprehend. That's the price of staying here, but it's very nice after all. Okay, where are we? Collective nouns. Alright, so there, when we have a there, always follow this one. There are a lot of factors, okay? Why lot? Geo, I think Geo is the one. Geo is the one. Geo is the ECE, right? I took exam level 4 and applied to flight attendants in Kuwait Airlines. I just got 80% English. 80 is not bad. No, actually, this is why at the onset of this topic, I tried to take the attention of those who are taking the LET. I had a fellow YouTuber, and she's preparing for the LET licensure examination for teachers, and she told me that I'll stay tuned to your channel because this will refresh me somehow the lessons in English. I don't know if I don't know the coverage of the exams, but if this will help, then I'll be happy. But for sure, I know for civil service examinations, there are a lot of verb and subject subject-verb agreement. This is why I always tell the students or anyone who has a weak foundation on subject-verb agreement that they will easily they will easily fail the examinations if they don't change. If they don't change their interest. If they really wish to pass the exams for civil service. So I know this. I don't know if it has been changed, but when I took the examinations, there were a lot of this vocabularies, grammar, and of course mathematics. Some series and all this. I cannot. Okay. Anyway, let's talk in the GC. Somebody told me he's also an ECE working in Qatar. Okay. We are done with their. Okay, collective nouns. What is a collective noun? Collective nouns are choir, jury. But interestingly, I read an article about collective nouns. So, rule on collective nouns. Group, team, committee, family, class. Yeah. So these collective nouns are naturally singular and therefore take a singular verb. So if we again insert an off phrase, the group of 1,000 people, is this correct? The group of 1,000 people or a group, okay? Meets every week. So it's still the same. So we apply the group. Forget about the off phrase. It has nothing to do, even if there are thousands, millions for that matter. It still goes back to this singular subject group, which is a collective noun. Okay, here. However, a plural verb is used if the focus is on the individuals in the group. This is much less common. Anyway, in case we come across this, in committee, participate in various volunteer activities in their private lives. See, with this prepositional phrase, it suggests that we focus on the different or the individuals in the committee. So committee. So this is why the verb is plural. Because it says in the rule that all collective nouns must be treated as singular. But that is if they state the totality or the group or the collective team or the group, yeah. And then for committee, this one, we are talking about the individuals. So individuals are plural. That's what I read, something I learned from today. Okay. What about emphatic form of the verb? Who wants to tell me something about the emphatic form of the verb? When you watch this, what is this? Q&A, Miss Q&A in ABS-CBN. They always say, I do believe. They start with their answer, I do believe. It's not part of this reference, but I want to insert it, okay? Emphatic form of the verb. Emphatic form. Do believe, does agree. This itself is already problematic to some speakers because they tend to, this is the auxiliary, that is this is the auxiliary or helping verb, while this is the main verb. Some, they do believes, thus agrees. Okay, so if here alone you're already having a mistake, then how much more if we do the subject-verb agreement? For example, Where is that? Okay. Because there is a verb, this is still an emphatic form. Okay, you go back. And we have an adverb of frequency not. So the subject, the verb does like. Okay, here. Already, the auxiliary verb agreed with the pronoun, with the subject he. This is what we are supposed to look at, not these likes. Because you may think that he is a singular and I have to make use of the S to agree with the subject as per the first rule. But this is a verb phrase. Sometimes they say phrasal verb. So this is already in singular, so this has to be always in the in the base form. So he does not like it. He does like it. Okay, I want to add some more. One of the okay, for me, it's English grammar. I want to emphasize the importance of grammar, okay? If we make use of this one of the, we make use of the color coding. It's a prepositional phrase of, and I'm still trying to recall how do you call this in grammatically, One of the basic needs. I always hear people that when they talk about one of my favorite food, always when you talk about one of the, then it should be plural. Because you are trying to deduct, is it deduct or induct? From many to one. So one of the basic needs. Do not say one of the basic need. Okay? Always in plural, but this is not the subject of the sentence. The subject is one. This is why it's singular. So but my emphasis here is the S on this. One of my favorite movie is I Am Number 4. What's wrong? Movie. Because it has to be movies. Now, if you want to make it plural, then you will say, my favorite movie is. But if you want to classify it as one of the favorite movies, then don't forget to add S. Because that, if you're talking to someone and you hear this, sometimes I want to correct, but who am I? I may embarrass them. And anyway, if I speak wrong, and somebody corrects me, I would be glad to listen to, especially if they know how to expound. It's not that you only you tell that it's wrong, but if you know the syntax, the structure, and how it correlates with the other, how it relates and how it affects as per the grammar, then it's very nice. Okay? What did we leave out? Okay. I have another reference. I think this is the last rule. The following words may be singular or plural depending upon their use in the sentence. This one, I'm also guilty of committing this error. How many rules so far did we have? So this is not the way a teacher teach. The way a teacher teaches. This is the way an engineer teaches. No method. What comes from my mind, what comes out my mind, then I want to discuss it, okay? Some. Some, any, all, most. Most of the news All right. I left it blank for our curiosity. All right. Most of the news is also a special noun. It ends with S, but it is singular. So in this case, for the most, because one rule says that prepositional off phrase or any other prepositional phrases does not affect the sentence, the subject. But if we are considering this most as the subject, which is either singular or plural, the preposition will help you in the decision making. Remember, we identify the subject, we decide whether it's singular or plural, and we decide which verb is to be used in the sentence. So most of the news, is it is or are? Which one is correct? Basing on this one, the correct verb is. Okay, most, either singular or plural, of the flowers. Okay, most of the flowers are yellow. It agrees with this with the help of flowers as a hint. Okay? What about this neither? Yeah, it's the same thing. Neither nor, either or. Okay? This follows the same rule as the or. The alternating conjunction. Alternating conjunction. So, if both subjects of this, of these conjunctions are singular, then we have no problem, just a singular. So, for example, neither of course, this one is very simple. You nor I, neither you nor I play basketball. Okay. Today. We have no problem because this is plural. This is plural. So we have a plural verb. But if neither the dogs nor the cat neither the dogs nor the cat eat lunch today. Which one is wrong? This one. Okay? Neither the dogs, this is the farther, and this is the nearer. So cat. So this one should be eats. Why? Of course. This is called the rule of proximity. The closer you are, of course, you have a higher possibility of getting it, Rule of proximity. If we interchange neither the cat nor the dogs, then eat lunch today. Wow, they have a good lunch. What time is it? Maybe we have to have a lunch. How many minutes did we incur? Okay. I think time for me to take a sit and do the question and answer portion. I talked a lot, now I want to hear from you guys. Is there anything that we left or we missed out? I have two references, one from the Walden University and the other one is from Setnik or whatever, this one. Collective nouns, some nouns, special nouns. I think we are done. Okay, so do we need to make a wrap up? Okay, I guess I have to. So as we started, number one, the subject must agree with the verb. Singular subject must have a singular verb. Plural subject, plural, of course, plural verb. And if the subjects are two or more, but combined or joined by a conjunction and no-brainer, it's a plural. But if the subject is joined by or, conjunction or, alternating conjunction or, then you have to find out where is the closer, what is the state of the closer subject. That's the rule of proximity. So it works for just or neither, nor, and either, or. Verb phrases. What? No, phrases between, no, not verb phrases. Phrases between the subject and the verb. They do not change the meaning or the nature of the subject except for these confused words that are either singular or plural. Okay, so number 8, this is about indefinite pronouns. So all indefinite pronouns must have a singular. Somebody, nobody, everybody. You cannot say everybody want ice cream. Then that's wrong because everybody is singular. So it has to have S, wants. Everybody wants ice cream. Nobody, somebody, someone. Okay? Non-count nouns are all singular. Special nouns, all singular. Physics, mathematics, statistics, all kinds of these, diabetes, and uncountable noun. Oh yeah, right. Information, no, don't say informations. Paperwork, not paperworks. Equipment, you cannot say equipments. But I still hear a lot of people say this. Everybody wants banana. I'm done with that, I guess. Okay. What else? Countable nouns. This is the opposite of the special nouns. Earnings, savings, goods. They are plural, and of course, hence they should have a plural verb. And collective nouns. Collective nouns are always singular, but it depends if you want to say or focus on the individuals within the collective noun. I think we are good. Anything else you want to ask, you want to add, or you want to disagree about? I think I will be doing the online classes every Friday because if I do it after 6 o'clock, it will be too late to the Timesians from the Philippines. It's 10 o'clock right there and it's going to be very late. Anyway, on the average, I will be doing the classes for 1 hour, 1.5. I will endeavor not to have the same technical problems at the onset all the time. I thought everything is ready, and when I go live, I count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're on air, and things do not cooperate. Just like earlier, it doesn't want to go on landscape. So I was looking at my monitor, the laptop, and I'm on a inverted position. So I needed to make a new one. Anyway, I thank you guys for staying with me, with the team, OFW Vloggers, Chef Lee, Leon TV Vlog, Gio Alagad. What is the channel? So this is the second time. So there's always a first time, and there's always a second time. So glitches, bloopers, we'll get there soon. We'll learn it. We'll master the art of vlogging. No, this is not actually vlogging, but I'm just doing the natural lecture, and doing it in front of everyone. Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Chef Lee. Okay, so let's call it a day, and I hope you guys learned something from our lecture today. So If I cannot make the lesson or lecture on the weekdays, then I prepare a video, recorded video, short video, compact, compressed video for some important grammar topics. And on Friday, we will be doing another live lecture, live streamed, where we cross all the boundaries of time zone, and the distance. This is what we call defying distance through internet, through live streaming, LS. Okay, thank you guys. See you again soon. You guys also deserve a clap. Thank you.